Good evening. You're watching This Week, a weekly news review program. I'm your host, Anur Gamatar. The Ministry of Education has trained school psychologists for the new school year. They'll be on school campuses to help students readjust to life after a long time away from classrooms.
School children in Mongolia have stayed at home for televised and online lessons for a year and a half. A recent survey indicated that more than half of students have fallen behind in learning. Also, lockdown hurt children's language and social skills. A total of 72 psychologists have been trained to work in schools. They will provide counseling to public school students in the capital city and provinces. The number of graduates in psychology is actually high. I believe that if the government puts psychologists in position in all sectors, the mental health of the general public will improve in 10 or 20 years. The school psychologist training program lasted 45 days. The program was organized by the Academy of Management. The work of the new school psychologists will be evaluated throughout the school year. The program is being funded by the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation.
The role of a school is not preparing children for exams, but to prepare them for life. This means a child's psychology comes first. Of the program participants, 48 will work in the provinces and 24 will work in the capital city. They are becoming the country's first certified school psychologists.
There are 670 public schools in Mongolia. The Ministry of Education says it plans to provide all schools with professional school psychologists in the near future.
Our recent survey suggests that the annual loss caused by the traffic congestion will reach 20 billion MNT or $7 million. The city mayor is calling for action from all sectors to join forces in reducing traffic congestion.
According to the 2019 study, traffic jams have caused losses of about 11.8 trillion Mongolia tugruk to the capital city. The recent survey calculated that the annual loss caused by the traffic jams could reach around 20 trillion in the upcoming years. City Mayor Sumyabatar encourages all sectors to work in unity to solve this pressing issue. The city administration plans to move state organizations to outside of the city in order to reduce urban concentration.
The number of vehicles keeps increasing by about 80,000 annually. Our survey shows that currently 78% of the main roads are in constant state of congestion. We will meet with the company owners whose companies are located along the congested roads. We will ask them to move out from the busy zone.
This year, the capital city allocated 420 billion Mongolian tugruk to manage traffic congestion. Actions include amending urban planning, replace public transport, and improve the entire traffic system. For the renewed traffic regulation rules, the city administration will receive public suggestions.
A parliamentary working group recently visited First Central Hospital. After shifting to performance-based budgeting, First Central Hospital raised salaries for its doctors and workers by 20%. Based on the quality of service and performance, employee salaries at First Central Hospital were increased in the first half of 2021, which led to a 20% increase of doctors and hospital workers. Additionally, an increase was allocated for overtime and bonuses for medical workers working in the COVID-19 ward. In accordance with an order from the Minister of Health, the hospital has shifted to a semi-independent status, and the board of directors of the hospital has made it possible for the hospital to have its budget increased based on performance results confirmed by the board.
These people working in the healthcare sector are under tremendous pressure at work, and they deserve to get satisfying pay. Our goal is to increase their salaries, and it is even possible to increase their salary by 2 or more times. However, the amount of the increase depends on the management skills of the administrator selected by the board of directors.
The First Central Hospital staff has requested to have some of the costs of service changed and to increase the budget for the treatment of some diseases. Due to the lower budget allocations for some diseases defined in Article 3 of the Health Insurance Law, the hospital has now been facing difficulties in conducting its delivery of services and has requested changes to the article and solutions to other urgent issues at the hospital. The Japanese embassy in Mongolia has launched a press campaign to introduce the operations of the new Chingashan International Airport. The airport holds a minimum capacity of receiving 3 million tourists every year.
During the press campaign, the ambassador of Japan to Mongolia was introduced to a construction of the new airport, which was built with a sold loan of 65.657 billion Japanese yen from the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. The airport, which is about 2.5 times bigger than the old one, holds a minimum capacity of receiving 3 million travelers annually and a total capacity of 4.5 million travelers. The airport has a big car park, and planes are able to land in either a western or eastern direction despite the prevailing wind conditions. As part of the project, about 150 officials from the Mongolian aviation sector have received training in Japan.
Due to the excessive periods of rain, countryside roads have collapsed in several areas. Some roads are currently blocked by flooding.
Because of consistent heavy rain that occurred this summer, a total of 29 collapsed roads have been recorded in the countryside. At this moment, the roads between Lung, Dashinchilang, and Batsingal-Soms are badly damaged. 6 particular spots have reported heavy damage. Engineers have been dispatched to the areas to assess the damage and work on repairs. Some parts of the road have fallen apart due to flood waters and are being repaired. The traffic is continuing as normal using additional dirt roads.
The
most serious damage occurred at the intersection of Lungsum. Some parts of the road are completely covered by flood water. Currently, repairs are ongoing and are about 50% complete. According to a study done by Ministry of Road Transport, there are 208 vulnerable spots prone to flood water in the countryside. The precautionary measures are being carried out by creating channels and canals. This year, 31 billion Mongolian tugruk has been allocated for repairs to countryside roads. Experts say roads must be repaired every 4 to 7 years. Roads that have been in usage of more than 13 years must undergo major repair. As of today, most of the countryside roads are due to receive major renovation. Since August 20th, heavy rains occurred in most provinces. Despite broken roads, there were many emergency calls of houses and cars affected by flood waters. The National Emergency Management Agency received over 280 calls related to flooding. Among them were 79 cases of cars being carried away by flood waters. The President of Mongolia, Khurelsukh, now received and met with the Ambassador of Japan to Mongolia, His Excellency Mr. Hiroyuki Kobayashi. At the start of the meeting, President Khurelsukh congratulated Mr. Kobayashi on his country's success in organizing the Olympics amidst the global pandemic and expressed his gratitude for assisting the Mongolian team during the Games, which was met with the ambassador's congratulatory remark on the 4 medals won by the Mongolian athletes.
The Japanese ambassador also expressed his appreciation for the fact that Mongolian Prime Minister Oyun Erten had visited Japan and met with the Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga. Next year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. The Japanese Prime Minister announced that 2022 will be the year of unity and exchange of Mongolian and Japanese children and youth. President Khurelsukh received the initiative very well and conveyed Mongolia's readiness to co-organize a number of events and activities dedicated to the youth, who will continue to benefit from the friendly relations between the two countries as part of next year's celebration. The president then expressed Mongolia's willingness to further develop the two countries' strategic partnership, people-to-people relations, and cooperation in the trade and economic sector. The Japanese side said that they hope to receive more high-profile officials from Mongolia and strengthen the friendship and cooperation of the countries in the future. The sides also agreed on the importance of carrying out bilateral projects like Chingashan International Airport and the Japanese and Mongolian Training Hospital in the future. The medium-term program on strengthening the Mongolian and Japanese strategic partnership in 20 2017 to 2021 is now ending, and another medium-term program for 2022 to 2025 is being developed. The president highlighted the importance of the strategic program on enhancing further cooperation between the two countries. Also, the ambassador noted that he would actively work on supporting the partnership between the two countries in various sectors.
The livestock tax, which went into effect last month, is beginning to pay off. Herders in Of's province are actively paying their taxes and taking effective initiatives to improve pasture management.
This sum of Of's province has over 270,000 livestock. As of today, the carrying capacity of the pasture is about 3 times over the limit. Prior to the 1990s, the Sum, which borders Russia to the north and has supplied fodder to 5 western provinces, has seen a decline in pasture plant species and intensive forest degradation. Herders had to go to Narumbolok Sum or Dzungobi to find good pasture. But now, with the introduction of taxes, herders are able to rehabilitate their degraded pastures and become more responsible. The Sum citizens' representative Horal discussed and imposed a tax of 300 to 1,000 Mongolian tugriks per 1 head of livestock. Since the introduction of the livestock tax on January 1st, Of's province has collected 122 million Mongolian tugriks in tax revenue. Sum is expected to raise 50 million Mongolian tugriks this year. About 10 million has already been raised. This money will be spent on livestock, wells will be built to rehabilitate pasture and to keep livestock healthy.
This year, our first focus will be on animal health based on feedback from herders. There are 10 bags in our Sum. There are plans to build 5 cleaning facilities between the 2 bags.
In the future, herders also need to pay attention to the quality of their livestock.
We aim to implement livestock management in our Sum in the future. We are studying how to get the most out of our livestock.
As a result of the introduction of the first livestock tax law, real pasture protection initiatives have begun to take place in rural areas and Sums.
Now let's see what's happening in the sports industry this week. The FIBA 3x3 Under-23 Nations League is divided into 5 zones: Europe 1, Europe 2, Europe, America, Africa, Asia, and Under-21. Mongolia's men's and women's teams will compete in the Africa-Asia zone with teams from Nigeria, Algeria, and Egypt. The first series of the region is taking place in the Egyptian city of October 6 with a 1-day break for 7 days. Mongolia's Under-23 women's national team defeated Egypt's team 16-13 in the group, but lost to Egypt's Under-21 team 17-18 and finished second in the group. They then played Egypt's Under-23 team again for the first day's title, winning 21-19 in the last minute. The national men's team lost to Egypt in both Under-21 and Under-23. 3 men's team are Mongolia, Egypt, and Egypt Under-21 will play in the men's and women's round, and the 2 with the high scores will advance to the finals to determine the winner of the day. The competition lasts for 3 days, and after the 3rd day there is a 1-day break and then 3 more days of the championships. The first series of the Nations League ended with 6 wins. The 2021 World Youth Wrestling Championships took place in Ufa, Russia. The Mongolian team finished the competition with 1 silver and 1 bronze medal. In total, Asian Games silver and bronze medalists won a silver medal in the women's 50 kg weight category. In the quarterfinals, she defeated Natalia Wolczak of Poland, a double bronze medalist at the European Junior Championships, and in the semifinals, she defeated Zehra Demirkan of Turkey, a bronze medalist of the European Junior Championships 9-4. In the finals, she lost to the Buenos Aires 2018 Youth Olympics champion Emily King-Shilson of the United States by a score of 0-10. Mukgirl, the bronze medalist of the 2019 Junior World Cup, also won a bronze medal at the Youth World Cup. She lost to Kyrgyzstan's Kalmira Bilimback 4-6 in the quarterfinals of the 55 kg weight category. Her opponent advanced to the finals, giving her the chance to compete for the bronze medal. She beat Peyton Shua of the United States 10-0 and Anastasia Yandushkina of Russia to win a bronze medal. Athletes of the Mongolian Paralympic national team are going to compete in the 16th Summer Paralympic Games Tokyo 2020 and have started their training in the Budokan. Munhwat, Yadamdorj and Алтан цэцэг will compete in para-judo. Цагаанбаатар Olympic bronze medalists as well as Narantoya and Munguntoya will work as coaches of the judo team. The opening ceremony of the 16th Summer Paralympic Games Tokyo 2020 will take place on August 24, 2021 at 7 p.m. Ulaanbaatar time at the National Stadium in Tokyo, Japan. Olympic bronze medalist Urun Tsitsik, Tsogtbaatar Bolortoya and acting president of the Mongolian National Olympic Committee Naranbaatar, first vice president and IOC member Batushik, secretary general of the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games were present at the ceremony. Olympic champion Batrogeng and members of the executive council participated in person, while members of the Mongolian National Olympic Committee participated online. Olympic silver medalist Said Molay is currently in Germany, and Orun Batur, secretary general of the Mongolian Judo Federation, received his badge on his behalf. The tradition of awarding Olympic medalists and participants with badges dates back to the late 1980s. Juan Antonio Samaranch, the then head of the IOC, initiated the commemoration of the badge in order to honor living Olympic medalists and Olympic participants. The emblem of the time covered all the medalists and participants of the Summer Olympics from Stockholm 1912 to Seoul 1988 and the Winter Olympics from Chamonix 1924 to Calgary 1988. The Mongolian Olympic Participants Association is planning to hold a ceremony to hand over the Olympic badges to 43 athletes who represented the country at the Olympic Games given the pandemic situation. Since then, after each Olympics, medalists and participants have received a badge through their country's National Olympic Committee. The badge is produced by Bertoni, a company based in Milan, Italy. In addition to the Olympic badge, the company has a wealth of experience in the production of gold medals for the FIFA World Cup, the UEFA Cup as it was then known as, and the UEFA Super Cup. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.